Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Morning Jolt. This is Don Markland with Accountability Now. On this podcast, this is where we give you small tidbits of data, information, and inspiration to make better decisions today. It's a tactical podcast about making today better today. For today's podcast, we're going to talk about one of the most destructive relationships you have in your life. And no, we are not talking about a loved one or the relationship with your parents. Guess what? The most destructive relationship you have in your life is that relationship you have with money. So many times when I start working with my coaching clients, I will ask them, where do you see yourself in 3 years? What visions do you really have? And the answers are wide-ranging in scope. They will say things like, Don, I really want to travel more. I want to give back. I want to donate to my school. I want to start a foundation. All these answers are all over the board. And when I start to examine all of them, and I always swing it back, I say, every one of those dreams that you have are going to require significantly more monetary achievement. Every one of them. We're going to have to increase your cash flow. And in order to do that, we're going to have to improve your relationship with money. And that's always a big shock. They don't even realize, as many of us don't, that we have a terrible relationship with dinero. If money is so important, why do we all, or so many of us, have such a terrible relationship with it? Why do so many people avoid talking about it, or avoid asking for it, or even avoid expecting it for our hard work? I've heard people say for years, money isn't everything. To which I respond, I agree, but what's your point? What are you trying to drive at when you say money isn't everything? In my life, I've had extremely low amounts of money, and I've had a little bit more money. And between the two, I would always rather have some money than none. And I would always rather have a lot of money than none. Let me illustrate it this way. To prove we have a bad relationship with money, let's compare it to a human relationship. Take, for example, that friend we all have, that one that drives us crazy. You know who I'm talking about. They're negative all the time, full of drama all the time. They always complain, suck the energy out of your life every time they're around. You know who I'm talking about. Every time they just seem to just drag you down. How do you approach that person? Sure, you're civil. Sure, you tolerate them. But do you really want them in your life? Or do you push them away subconsciously or consciously as much as you can? Well, guess what? That's what exactly you do with money. Whenever you get any money in your life, what do you do with it? You push it away. You spend it. You get rid of it. You get rid of it as fast as you possibly can. You treat money just like you do that dramatic friend. Whenever they come around for whatever reason, whether it's drama or bills or drinks or whatever, you push them away. You never keep them in your life. You never really develop a relationship. That's the problem. If you really want a relationship with money, just like you would with somebody that you love, you'd spend time with them. You'd nurture them. You'd hang out. You'd do the things that it takes to grow together. So I'm going to tell you some things, 3 little tips you can do with money to build a relationship. And yeah, this might sound like a Gary Chapman conversation of the 5 love languages, but I promise these 3 little tips will help you grow money and grow your relationship and help you do it a little bit differently. Tip number 1, and these are things you could do today. Tip number 1 is talk about money differently. Believe it or not, what you tell yourself about money actually matters, and there is science evidence to prove it. According to research from Jesselin and Scherer, this was done in 2005, when you say things with confidence, particularly with money, it is shown tremendously to have persuasive power. This is also done in the affirmation research for psychologists and therapists. So think back at your life history. How many negative things have you heard about money? How many times growing up did you hear your parents, friends, or family members say things like, "We don't have any money. Money is tight this month. Please don't spend what we don't have, etc. These planted in your mind a negative association with money. So you became a hoarder with money. And all the thoughts of money, you became very, very tight-fisted with it. So your first task is to change that relationship. Every day, I want you to say something positive with money. Say things like, I love how having more money allows me to take care of my children. I love how having more money allows me to give back to my church. I love how having more money allows me to not stress about bills every month. I love how having more money allows me to invest in my dreams. Don't say it longingly or hopefully. Say it confident. Say it as if you've accomplished it. Say it as if it's already done. Task number 2. Let's get some more money, friends. Okay, this is according to Bankrate Report. 63% of Americans have only one source of money to make ends meet. So let's build a coalition. Let's build some more money, friends. Get some second flows of income. You don't have to get a lot of income flows, but do some things to make secondary sources of income. It doesn't mean you go get a second part-time job that is taking a ton of time out of your life, but do some things to create secondary sources. If you want to do a little bit of Uber or a little bit of affiliate marketing or stand up a second website or do some things to generate secondary sources, just the act of doing that will make you look at money differently. It forces you to look at your income in a second way, and there's a neurological benefit, and you start to care for your money differently. I promise it changes how you look at it just because of how you approach the acquisition of money. And then task number 3, this is the biggie, end those bad money relationships. Everyone has bad relationships in their life that suck the energy out of them. And in money terms, bad relationships are called bad debt. The reason I call this bad debt is because not all debt is created equal. Many financial advisors say all debt is bad, and I'm not that type of a person. Millionaires constantly go into debt for their businesses. There is strategic debt that you should go into. But bad debt is the debt, high interest rate debt. It constantly drags you down. So find the bad debt in your life and then do everything within your power to yank it out. Just recently, Warren Buffett wrote an article online where a woman approached him and said, "Hey, I just acquired some money. Where should I invest it?" And he came to her and said, "Well, how much money did you get?" She said, "About $15,000. And he said to her, "Well, with that $15,000, do you have any credit card debt?" And she said, "Well, yes, I have some, but I want to invest this money in the future." And he said, "Well, that credit card debt has 18% interest. I can't tell you anything that will get you 18% interest. The best move is to pay off the credit card debt." That is bad debt. You should always pay off high interest rates first before you make any investments. That is the right pathway first. Get rid of those bad relationships and then plan for the future. Folks, your bad relationships with money is hurting you. Have a great relationship with money. Love money. It doesn't mean be obsessed. It means have a great relationship. Love it and watch it bless your life and build you a better future. If you want more content, first, please subscribe and leave a review on Apple and Spotify. You can follow me on Forbes. You can follow me on Twitter @Don Markland or Instagram executivecoach.don, or always my website accountabilitynow.net. You can always check me out or my company, the greatest digital marketing agency in the world, 411 Locals. And this is your Morning Jolt.